Welcome back, Sox fans, to another edition of the Wenatchee AppleSox Podcast. My name is Jackson Dodd. Today, we are here with AppleSox pitcher Easton Brooks. Brooks, thanks for joining the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Of course, man. And, first question, looking back, how was the summer for you?
Summer was really fun. I would argue that it was time well spent out there in Wenatchee playing for the Apple Sox and competing out there.
Mhm. Is there any favorite parts you had in Wenatchee, whether it's just chilling around town or with the team? What do you got?
I really enjoyed the being at the field, specifically the
Mhm.
games and the Fourth of July game a lot.
Mhm.
I loved that environment with the fans and the fireworks and everything that had to do in game and even post game.
Mhm. And besides that, is there any fun stories or memories you got with the guys throughout the summer?
Oh, stories or memories? Um, Honestly, I nothing in particular comes to mind. One thing I did really enjoy though was on the road when specifically going to Canada. A few times we'd go out on the town just to look around and see what it was like. It was my first time in Canada. And so seeing some of those smaller towns out there was super fun and going out, getting food and hanging around the guys and getting to know them better was some fun memories and some good times.
Yeah, and if you could pick maybe three guys you were closest with, who would you pick?
Three, dang, that's a pretty tough question right there. I mean, I'm gonna have to hurt some feelings here, but probably the closest ones that come to mind was some of the guys who stayed the whole year. So like Owen Firestone was one I was really close with, Joe, Thornton, and even like guys I got close with in the beginning, like Blake, Sandvik, and Mitch Haythorne, and mostly majority pitchers.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, since that's kind of where I spent my time, but no, all the guys I got pretty close with towards the end of the season. So
Yeah, and you mentioned sticking around all season. Some of the guys either had to leave early or join a bit late. What made you want to stick around the whole entire summer?
just more opportunity. Yeah, during my season for school, I didn't get too many innings, and so having the opportunity, Mitch bringing it up, saying that I'll be able to get more innings and more experience was something that I wanted going into the summer,
Mhm.
but also like the situation and where I was at was really good, and I wanted to kind of see where I could go with it
Mhm.
and really push myself in that way.
Yeah, and I mean, start of the season, you kind of started out as somewhat of a reliever, and about halfway through, you were thrown into that starter position. Was that a
Mhm.
big a culture shock for you, or is it chill?
I wouldn't say it was chill, but neither would I say it was a culture shock. I had been a starter growing up, and so it took a minute to I would say it took a game to
Mhm.
get familiar with it again. But
Mhm.
once I got into routine, it was pretty like riding a bike.
Mhm.
And especially with the way I was able to do it and how Mitch um, went about helping me like move into that role by pushing me a little more innings in relief was also super helpful.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, I think I noticed too is after every start, I feel like you just grew as a starter. I mean, one of your later outings, I think it was in July in Edmonton, where you threw seven scoreless innings. I think you only had like three hits that ball game. And I think you also had nine strikeouts as well in that ball game. Do you
Mhm.
remember that ball game?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that was actually I didn't start that game, but I came in relief with a kind of I went into it with a mindset of a starter.
Mhm.
Just like I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna ride as long as I can. And then that ended up working out and was able to not only develop my inning count and push that, but also be able to get more, grow as a reliever as well. So.
Yeah, and that was your longest outing of the year. Like you said, it wasn't a start, but 7 innings.
Yeah.
Do you usually like to stick around more 4 or 5, or do you like to stretch it into that 7 range?
I I go into it thinking I'm gonna go seven.
Mhm.
I It's always kind of been my mindset is I'm like my goal is 7 innings, obviously depending on if how early it is. Like earlier in the summer, my goal was I want to try to go 2 innings or
Yeah.
3 innings. But once I picked up that starter role, I want to go 6 or 7 innings.
Mhm. And you were second on the Sox with strikeouts. You had 39 strikeouts. How are you so effective on the mound this year?
It was the being able to, I would say, better pitch mix.
Mhm.
Compare like I'm comparing this summer compared to my first season at school, and being able to develop my off speed better.
Mhm.
Naturally, I throw more fastballs and have more ride to my fastball, which helps either way.
Mhm.
But being able to throw in a slider or curveball and then go with a fastball,
Mhm.
um, I think helped and made me more prepared to and allowed me to go longer.
Yeah. And pitches wise, I mean, you mentioned fastball, slider. What's your go-to couple pitches to throw?
Fastball, number one, feel most comfortable and dominant with that. My next was got to be my slider. And
Mhm.
then this summer, I can confidently now say that a changeup developed better to where I'm able to throw a changeup more often,
Mhm.
which really helps with a fastball.
Mhm. Another clutch performance I can think of this summer, I think, was the game three and your guys' first series against Bellingham on the road. It was you guys
Mhm.
were looking for your first series win in Bellingham in 15 years, and you went on the mound and you got the save for the Sox. Were you thinking about that year mark while you were on the mound, or were you just thrown away?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know about that until after the fact when I don't know if I just didn't hear it, like Mitch say anything, but afterwards Mitch is like, that was our first win in Bellingham in 15 years or whatever it was. And I just remember thinking, oh wow, that's kind of sick. That's cool. But I just went in and just like I need to dominate. I need to pitch my butt off and get after it here.
Yeah. And another funny story is, you got a line drive to the foot during a game one time this summer, and then you drove
Yeah.
all the way to Chelan after that with a potential fractured foot. Can you tell that story for the fans at home?
Yeah, so we were who were we put was that? That wasn't the 7 inning game, I don't think. I think that was maybe my second start in Wenatchee. But yeah, a line drive right off my foot, and it swelled up pretty good that first night. And I wasn't sure exactly, like, it hurt really bad. And so that
Mhm.
next morning, I drive back to because I live in Chelan. I was staying in Chelan, and so I drove back to Chelan that night, and then I drove back to Wenatchee the next day, got an X-ray they ended up telling me that it was fine
Mhm.
and there was no fractures. So I'm sitting there thinking, wow, so I'm just a baby. But end up being able to tape it up every game and um, work through it. And so yeah, it was quite a situation.
Mhm.
So took the rest of the season to recover.
Have you had
So
many injuries before, whether it is a foot or arm wise? How have you battled through injuries before?
yeah, so my first year, I redshirted because of I had a shoulder, like a bad shoulder strain in the back of my shoulder, and that was probably the worst I've ever had. And it wasn't, which by any means, it wasn't like bad. I didn't tear it,
Mhm.
but going about that situation was pretty hard and took a lot of patience out of me
Mhm.
because it required time, and especially since I was redshirting now that I wasn't going to play and even let alone pitch bullpens for the
Mhm.
rest of the season because I'm recovering. And so going about that, I had the mindset of I'm going to like with the future in mind. Like, all right, I can't wait for summer ball, like the AppleSox. Like that was my chance and my time to really show what I can do. And
Mhm.
so keeping that in mind really helped.
Mhm. And what was that recruitment process like last year to get recruited from where you were at Utah Tech coming to the AppleSox?
Yeah, so my grandparents, they live in Chelan, Washington. And so my grandpa was the one who told me that he texted me one day or called me and mentioned there's a team out in Wenatchee. So I looked it up, and sure enough, it was a summer ball of my college league team. And so I actually got connected with Ryan Martinez. If you remember him, he played on the team a couple of years ago, and he plays here at Utah Tech. And so he connected me to Mitch. And from there, I was able to work or talk with Mitch a little bit. And then my coach down here was able to set it up pretty easy. And from there on, I was able to come up for the summer and in a pretty smooth and easy way.
Yeah. Then besides baseball, stepping away from baseball, what are things you like to do outside of the game?
Ooh, things I like to do. I'm a big movie watcher.
Mhm.
So I enjoy like watching movies. Me and my roommates here go on a lot of like $5 Tuesdays to the theater and just watch a movie, hanging out with the guys. My girlfriend, especially hanging out with her and making time to see her is always super fun. I'm big on Legos right here. Oh shoot, I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see them. Ah, but anyway, big on those. So I got a little collection going, working on, and so yeah, those are probably my biggest things right now.
So I'm a big Lego guy myself, big Lego
Yeah.
Star Wars guy.
So you understand the craft and the mastery it takes.
I got a whole collection in the other room, but I'm not going to take everybody through there that right now. Are you also maybe a big surfer or wakeboarder? Because we went to Slide Waters this year. I remember you were probably the best one in that wave area. I don't know exactly what it was called. Everybody else was falling off. A guy that comes to mind was Reese Fasser and Christian Garcia. Those guys, they just fell off like, the moment they got off.
Uh,
But you were the only one with like a GoPro, and you were
mhm.
the only one who felt safe with that GoPro.
Yeah,
Like,
I had done that once before because me and my family grew up, like I said, my grandparents live in Chelan, so we grew up going there every year. So when it opened in 2020, like that 2021 year, me and my family, we went and did it one time, and like I surf behind boats out here in Utah all the time. And so, yeah, and then even after that, over the course of that summer, I was able to go a few more times and learn some tips and tricks here and there. So,
there you go. And growing up playing ball, did you always imagine yourself that you'd be a pitcher, or were you, maybe a catcher or somewhere like that?
yeah, I grew up playing shortstop.
Okay.
And then once I got to high school, I hit my growth spurt.
Mhm.
And so then like got taller and a little longer. And so I played first base and then I pitched. And it wasn't until my junior year where I realized pitching's probably going to be my thing.
Mhm.
Um, Hitting unfortunately fell off, but pitching kept on going. And then I got recruited by Utah Tech, and they just told me, "Hey, you're going to be a pitcher here." And I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, fine, okay."
Yeah,
But it's paying off so far, and so I'm really enjoying it, and the culture and the lifestyle of it has been super fun.
that's great. And besides pitching, if you could choose, what position would you like to play?
I would love to play outfield, whether any of those three. I think I played one game of outfield my junior year of high school, and that was one of the funnest games ever. Like just being able to throw guys out at second or home and just let it loose was I always enjoy shagging BP
Mhm.
here because you just run around like an outfielder,
Yeah.
and I just think it's the funnest thing.
Mhm. And every game, a lot of pitchers here on the Sox had very specific game day routines. Did you have a certain one, whether it's for college or when you were at the Sox? Was there a specific routine you had?
I would say it wasn't anything crazy. I don't have many superstitions. I
Mhm.
think obviously I go through my same stretching routine
Mhm.
and where I go from stretch and then I throw, but I usually try to keep it pretty loose. I've tried doing things where I'm that help keep me like thinking about the game the entire day, but I realized that doesn't work with me too well, because then I start to overthink and get sped up. Whereas if I just go throughout the day and kind of just a normal day, so like in Chelan, I just wake up and hang out on the lake for a little bit and then drive over to Wenatchee and hang out there. Nothing crazy and stay relaxed is what was best for me.
Yeah, can't hurt. And now going into college wise, you're from Utah and you go to Utah Tech. Were you a big Utah Tech fan growing up?
Can't say I was. I was never really like a big college watcher, like
Mhm.
as far as sports or anything. Like, and so growing up, like I always, me and my, I live 4 hours away from where I'm from.
Okay.
But me and my family would always come down here for vacation
Mhm.
because it's warmer here and it's a smaller town. It's pretty fun. So I
Mhm.
always thought I'd want to go to school here,
Mhm.
keeping that in mind, but that was the extent of it.
Yeah. And what bought into your decision to go to Utah Tech over other schools?
I kind of going with that. I really like the area down here and I liked how our coach here, Chris Fatenhauer, was really good about developing, and he was a very I would say he keeps an old school mindset of he wants to develop players. He wants to make us better, not just as players, but as in like human beings and young men, and grow us up and give us experience in many ways. And so hearing about that on like my visits, and I got recruited during COVID,
Mhm.
was also a big help. And then the other thing is I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which took me away out of baseball for 2 years. And so him knowing that and still holding us like a scholarship and a spot for me really impacted my decision as well.
Mhm. And now going to this year with your fall ball schedule, what's that look like?
Yeah, we go almost every day. I think we have one off day a week,
Okay.
and it's just right back to it. Weights in the morning, and then we have we're getting into our scrimmages just now,
Mhm.
and so we'll go all the way till Thanksgiving, and it's been really fun. It's been really good.
Do you have many games here in the fall, or are you guys mostly just practice?
I mean, we scrimmage each other.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yesterday we played against Salt Lake Community College where they came to us, and
Mhm.
then in a couple more weeks we'll have College of Southern Nevada. They'll
Mhm.
come and play us, but that's really it. So
Mhm.
we don't play anyone outside of that.
How have you felt on the mound this year in the fall?
I actually haven't pitched yet this fall. I had a little strain early on,
Mhm.
and so I'm recovering once again. So kind of going back to that recovery process and injury process. So I'm really just looking forward to getting back on the mound healthy and um, getting right back to it.
Yeah, of course. And then you guys kind of phase into that winter. How do you guys stay ready for the spring season in the winter?
Yeah, so we are completely shut down a little bit after Thanksgiving from any practice with the team. But thankfully, it's still like warm out here. It doesn't snow, it doesn't rain.
Mhm.
And even when it does, we have a covered hitting cage and our bullpen is covered. So we're able to work through that and stay around here. And then in December, when we all go home for Christmas break or winter
Mhm.
break, we it's up to us, to be able to find a weight room, find a gym. We
Mhm.
do have access here, so whenever we want to come back, so like I'm already planning on coming back a week in advance
Mhm.
before school gets going, just to stay in the weight room and stay healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, of course. And then in the spring season, what's that day to day look like? Is it similar to the fall?
Yes, but more in, intense, I would say, or more time consuming.
Mhm.
We go Mondays our off day typically. Tuesday is usually either practice or is either a team scrimmage or a game day.
Mhm.
Wednesday practice, Thursday practice, or travel day. And then we play Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mhm.
And so it's a lot more time consuming, I would say.
So, Easton, how do you balance school and then practice, weightlifting, and games in that spring season?
It's pretty it's a lot easier than most would think. At least for
Mm-hmm.
me, being able to have a lot of online classes, especially, really helps with being able to do schoolwork remote. And so in the spring, I'll take majority online classes, whereas in the fall, when we don't have to travel, I'll take a lot more in-person classes.
Mm-hmm.
But our coach does a really good job of making sure we're up on our studies. So we're required a certain amount of study hall, both in the fall and
Mm-hmm.
during the spring that we have to. So I think in the spring, it's like 2 hours worth of study hall
Mm-hmm.
that we track, which is the time where we get our homework done. And that's per week, sorry. So 2 hours a week. And then on the road, he also designates time where we're able to do homework and tests and whatever else we need to do. And so initially, I feel a lot of people ask me that, like, how is it being having all that to do? But in reality, once you get a good rhythm going and a good system, it's a lot easier than you think.
Yeah. And then last question, what are you most looking forward to in the spring season?
I'm looking forward to how do I put this? I'm looking forward to con the, to seeing the continual growth that this program has had since I've the first 2 years, or no, my first year was very slow moving and still figuring out all the parts and at least for me, like what college baseball is all about. And
Mm-hmm.
then last year, seeing the dramatic jump we had as a program and making it and doing some damage in the conference tournament. Unfortunately, we came up just barely short in a couple of those games, which led us to, being eliminated. But
Mm-hmm.
now I feel like we have that experience, especially as because this program was originally Division 2,
Mm-hmm.
and turning Division 1 when I first got here. And so now that we have that experience getting to a conference tournament and doing some damage, I think that confidence is going to play a big part in our progression and doing even more damage come this season. So,
Yeah. Easton, thank you again for joining the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And of course, and Apple Sox fans, make sure to stay tuned for more episodes of the Apple Sox Podcast.